The rain wasn't just falling. Felt like a warning. A flickering neon sign buzzed above a quiet roadside diner. It was past midnight. Only a few customers remained. A tired couple, a truck driver half asleep, and a man sitting alone in the corner. Black suit. Perfectly tailored. Well, like he didn't belong here. His name was Victor Romano, one of the most feared mafia bosses in the city. But tonight he was alone, and something felt off. The waitress approached his table. Late 20s, simple. No makeup, no attitude, just tired eyes and a forced smile. "Refill?" she asked softly. Victor looked up. His sharp gaze locked onto hers. Most people looked away. He didn't. "Yeah," he replied. As she poured the coffee, her hands trembled. Victor noticed instantly. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm fine, just tired," she said quickly. But she wasn't fine. Outside, a black SUV slowly rolled past the diner. Then another. And another. The waitress glanced outside and froze. Her face went pale. She quickly set the coffee pot down, leaned closer, almost whispering into Victor's ear. "They're waiting outside for you." Victor didn't react immediately. "Who?" he asked calmly. "Black SUVs. For maybe 5. Men inside. They're not here to talk." A slight smile touched Victor's lips. "How do you know they're here for me?" She looked straight into his eyes. "Because they've been watching you since you walked in." Silence. Heavy. Victor checked his watch. "How long?" 15 minutes. That changed everything. This wasn't random. This was a setup. Planned hit. And only a few people had the power and the guts to try this. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lena." "Lena, do you know who I am?" Then she nodded. "Everyone does." "Then why warn me?" She hesitated. Her voice dropped. "Because no one warned my brother." Victor's expression shifted, just slightly. "He died not knowing," she added quietly. "I won't let that happen again." Across the diner, a man stood up to pay. But his eyes kept flicking toward Victor. Victor caught it instantly. They were already inside. "How many?" he murmured. "2, maybe 3, Lena replied without looking. Victor took a slow sip of coffee. Like nothing was wrong. "Back exit?" he asked. "Through the kitchen, but what?" "There's a car parked there too." Victor let out a quiet chuckle. Smart. Now his eyes had changed. Cold. Focused. Danger didn't scare him. But this was precise. Someone had studied him. Tracked him. Betrayed him. And Victor Romano didn't forgive betrayal. "Lena," he said calmly, "if I walk out of this alive, your life won't stay the same." She met his gaze. "Just make sure you do." The diner door suddenly opened. A man walked in. Black coat. Gloves. Controlled steps. His eyes scanned once. Then locked onto Victor. "Hitman." Victor leaned back slightly. "The game just started," he whispered. Lena's heart was racing. "What are you going to do?" Victor reached into his pocket. Pulled something out. Not a gun. Phone. He dialed one number. Said only 2 words. "Code black." Then he stood up. Adjusted his coat. And started walking toward the door. Not rushing. Not hiding. Like he wasn't escaping. Like he was stepping into it. "Wait, don't go," Lena whispered. But he didn't stop. At the door he paused just for a second. "Trust me." Then he stepped outside. Instantly, SUV headlights snapped on. Engines roared. Doors opened. Guns ready. Rain pouring harder. And Victor Romano stood there. Alone. Inside, Lena stared through the glass, frozen. "Oh my God," she whispered. And then the first shot was fired. The first shot echoed through the night. Lena flinched. Inside the diner, everything froze. Chaos exploded. But Victor Romano didn't move. Not when the gun fired. Not when the bullet came straight at him, because it never reached him. A black SUV door suddenly slammed open, and one of the men dropped before he could fire again. Another shot rang out. Then another. Snipers. Precise. Controlled. Silent killers. Within seconds, 2 men were down. The rest scrambled for cover. "What the?" one of them shouted. Victor finally moved, slowly stepping forward into the rain. Touch. Like he had seen this exact moment play out already. Inside, Lena stared in shock. "He knew," she whispered. Outside, the attackers were panicking now. "This wasn't the plan," one yelled. "Exactly. Because this wasn't their trap anymore. It was his." A voice suddenly crackled through one of the fallen man's earpieces. "Abort! Abort! It's compromised." Too late. More headlights appeared at the end of the road. Not black SUVs this time. Matte armored vehicles. Fast. Aggressive. They surrounded the attackers within seconds. Doors opened. Men in tactical gear stepped out. Weapons raised. Laser focused. Victor's men. One by one, the attackers were forced to the ground. Some tried to run. They didn't get far. Within a minute, it was over. Rain washed the blood across the pavement. Silence returned. Like nothing had happened. Victor stood in the center of it all. Untouched, unshaken, in control. One of his men approached him. "Boss, we got most of them. 2 are alive." Victor nodded slightly. "Good." His eyes moved toward the diner window. Locked onto Lena. She quickly stepped back, heart pounding. "What is he?" she whispered. Outside, Victor walked toward one of the captured men. The man was shaking, terrified. "You picked the wrong night," Victor said quietly. I didn't have a choice," the man stuttered. "Everyone has a choice." Victor crouched down. His voice dropped colder. "Who sent you?" Silence. The man hesitated. That was his mistake. Victor nodded once. One of his men stepped forward, gun raised. "No, wait. I'll talk." The attacker screamed. Victor raised a hand. The gun lowered. "Smart," Victor said. The man swallowed hard. "It was someone close to you." Victor's expression didn't change, but his eyes did. "Archer. Harper. Name." The man hesitated again, then finally said it, and for the first time that night, Victor Romano froze. Just for a second. Because the name he heard was someone he trusted. Someone from inside. Back in the diner, Lena watched everything. She didn't hear the name, but she saw Victor's reaction. And that scared her more than the gunshots. Because powerful men don't fear enemies. They fear betrayal. Suddenly, the diner door opened again. Lena turned, and Victor walked back in. Rain dripping from his coat. Eyes locked on her. The entire place went silent. Even the air felt heavier. He walked straight toward her, step by step, until he stood right in front of her. "Too close." "You saved my life," he said calmly. Lena swallowed hard. "I just told you what I saw." "No," Victor replied quietly. "You chose a side." Her heart dropped. "I didn't choose anything. You did," he cut in. Silence. Dangerous silence. Then Victor leaned in slightly and said something that changed everything. "Now they know your face." Lena's blood ran cold. "What?" she whispered. Victor stepped back. "They were watching me," he said. "Which means, they were watching you too." Realization hit her like a truck. "Oh my God," her hands started shaking. "I'm not part of this, I didn't." "You are now." Tears filled her eyes. No, I can't." "You don't have a choice," Victor said coldly. Then, after a brief pause, his tone softened just a little. "The moment you warned me, you became a target." Lena felt like the ground disappeared beneath her. "Then what am I supposed to do?" she asked, barely holding herself together. Victor looked at her, studying her, measuring something. Then he said, "You come with me." Silence. Lena stepped back. "No, I'm not going anywhere with you." Victor didn't argue, didn't force her. He just reached into his pocket and placed something on the counter. Small photo. Lena looked down and her heart stopped. It was her. Walking into work earlier that evening. Taken from across the street. Her hands started shaking violently. They've already started, Victor said quietly. Lena looked up at him. Terrified. Broken. Trapped. Please, she whispered. I don't want to die. Victor held her gaze. And for the first time there was something human in his eyes. Then trust me. Outside, more sirens echoed in the distance. Time was running out. Lena closed her eyes for a second. Then opened them. Decision made. Okay. Victor gave a slight nod. Good. He turned toward the door then paused. Without looking back he said, from this moment on, your life belongs to the war you just stepped into. Lena followed him. Not because she wanted to, but because she had no other choice. The diner door closed behind them. And just like that, her normal life was over. The city lights blurred past as the black car sped through the rain. Lena sat frozen in the passenger seat. Silent. Breathing fast. Trying to understand how her normal life had just ended. Next to her, Victor Romano sat calm. Calm. Like nothing had changed. Like this was just another night. You're not even worried, are you? Lena finally said, her voice shaking. Victor didn't look at her. I'm always worried, he replied. You just don't see it. That didn't comfort her. Oh. Where are we going? She asked. A safe place. Safe for who? Me or you? This time Victor glanced at her. For now, both. The car took a sharp turn, leaving the main road behind. Dark streets. Me. No traffic. No witnesses. Lena's heart pounded harder. What if I just get out? She said suddenly. Victor gave a faint, almost amused smile. You won't make it 2 blocks. Silence. Deep heavy silence. She knew he wasn't threatening her. He was telling the truth. After a few minutes the car slowed down. A large iron gate appeared ahead. Cameras. Guards. Armed. The gate opened without a word. They drove inside. A massive estate stood in front of them. Cold. Elegant. Untouchable. Lena stepped out slowly. This is your safe place, she whispered. This is one of them. That didn't make her feel better. Inside everything was quiet. Too quiet. No staff in sight. No movement. Just expensive silence. Why does it feel empty? Lena asked. Victor removed his coat. Because I don't trust anyone right now. That hit different. Not even his own people. The betrayal had cut deep. Sit, he said, pointing to a chair. Lena sat, still shaking. Victor poured himself a drink. Then finally looked at her. Start talking. About what? Your brother. Lena froze. How do you know about him? You mentioned him, Victor said calmly. People don't say things like that. Unless it matters. She looked away. Pain flashed across her face. He got involved with the wrong people, she said quietly. They used him, then left him to die. Victor's eyes narrowed slightly. Which people? I don't know, she replied quickly. Just dangerous ones. Victor studied her. Longer this time. Like he didn't believe her. Lena, he said slowly. Everyone in my world leaves a trail. I told you I don't. Stop. His voice was calm, but final. Silence filled the room. Then, Victor walked to a nearby table, picked up a file, and tossed it in front of her. Open it. Lena hesitated. Her hands trembled as she slowly opened the file. Inside photos. Documents. Her breath caught in her throat. No, this isn't. It is, Victor said quietly. Lena flipped through the pages faster. Panic rising. That's my brother, but these people, her voice broke. I've seen them before. Victor leaned slightly forward. Where? Lena's eyes filled with fear. At the diner. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Victor's expression darkened. You're sure? She nodded quickly. They used to come in sometimes. Sit in the back, always watching. Victor exhaled slowly. Pieces were connecting now. Too perfectly. This wasn't random, he said. They didn't just find you tonight. Lena looked up at him, terrified. What do you mean? Victor's voice dropped. You were part of the plan. Her heart stopped. No, that's not true. They knew you'd be there. No, they knew you'd warn me. Stop, she shouted, standing up, tears streaming down her face. I didn't do anything. Victor didn't raise his voice, didn't move. But his words hit harder than any scream. Your brother wasn't a victim, Lena. Silence. He was connected. Her world shattered in that moment. No, she whispered. He wouldn't. He did, Victor said. And whatever he was part of, he stepped closer. You just got pulled into it. Lena backed away, shaking her head. This isn't real, this can't be real. But it was. Every second of it. Then suddenly phone rang. Loud. Victor turned, picked it up. Listen. His expression changed instantly. What? He said coldly. Then. Lock everything down. He hung up. Lena's heart dropped again. What happened now? Victor looked at her, eyes darker than ever. They found us. Her breath stopped. How? Victor's jaw tightened. Because someone here told them. Silence. The air turned deadly. Lena slowly shook her head. No, you said this place was safe. It was. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Multiple. Approaching. Lena turned toward the door, fear taking over completely. What do we do? She whispered. Victor didn't answer immediately. He reached into a drawer, and this time he pulled out a gun. Loaded. Ready. Then looked at her. Cold. Focused. Now, you find out what war really looks like. The lights suddenly flickered. And then, gunshots exploded inside the house. Gunshots ripped through the silence. Glass shattered. Walls cracked. Lena screamed and dropped to the floor. Her ears rang. Her body froze. This wasn't fear anymore. This was survival. Stay down, Victor shouted. He grabbed her arm and pulled her behind a heavy marble counter just as bullets tore through the space where she had been standing seconds ago. Dust filled the air. More footsteps. Closer now. They're inside. Lena whispered, trembling. I know, Victor said, his voice cold and controlled. He checked his weapon. Loaded. Precise. Deadly. This wasn't panic for him. This was routine. Another round of gunfire exploded from the hallway. Victor leaned slightly, fired 2 shots, bang. Bang. A body dropped instantly. Silence for half a second. Then chaos again. They're not here to scare you, Victor said. They're here to finish it. Lena covered her mouth, trying not to cry. This is my fault, she whispered. Victor looked at her sharply. No. But they followed me. They were already coming, he cut in. That betrayal didn't start tonight. Another loud crash. A door kicked open somewhere deeper in the house. More men flooding in. Victor's jaw tightened. Too many. Too fast. They know the layout, he muttered. That meant only one thing. Inside help. Again. Lena looked at him. What do we do? Victor paused for a split second. Calculating. Then, we move. Move, she almost shouted. You want to stay here, he snapped. That shut her up. He grabbed her hand. Stay close. Don't stop. Before she could respond, he moved. Precise. Pulling her through a side hallway as bullets followed behind them. Walls chipped. Lights flickered. Lena could barely keep up. Her heart felt like it would explode. Where are we going? She gasped. Basement. They turned a corner. A man suddenly appeared in front of them. Gun raised. Lena froze. Victor didn't. Bang. The man dropped instantly. Lena flinched hard. Her hands shaking uncontrollably now. I can't do this, she whispered. You already are, Victor replied. They reached a heavy steel door. Victor punched in a code. The door opened. They slipped inside and slammed it shut behind them. Silence. For a moment, just their breathing, loud, uneven, live. Lena leaned against the wall, sliding down to the floor. "I'm going to die," she whispered. Victor locked the door, turned to her. "No," he said firmly. "You're not. You don't know that. I do." She looked up at him, tears streaming. "How can you be so sure?" Victor stepped closer, his voice lower now, controlled. "Because they didn't come for you." Silence. Lena frowned. "What?" "They came for me," he continued. "And if they wanted you dead," he paused, "you'd already be gone." That didn't comfort her. It made things worse. "Then what do they want with me?" she asked. Victor didn't answer immediately. Instead, he walked to a hidden cabinet, opened it. Inside, weapons, documents, emergency passports. Lena stared. "Who are you?" she whispered. Victor ignored the question. He grabbed a file, turned back to her. "Your brother," he said. Lena's body stiffened. "What about him?" Victor tossed the file in her lap. "Read." Her hands trembled as she opened it. More documents, more photos, but this time something different. Her eyes widened. "No, this is wrong." "It's not," Victor said. Lena shook her head rapidly. "This says he worked with you." Silence. The truth hit hard. Lena slowly looked up. "You knew him." Victor's expression didn't change. "He worked for me." Her world collapsed again. "You're lying." "I don't lie about things like this." Lena stood up, anger replacing fear. "You're saying my brother was part of this?" "Yes." "No. He wasn't like you." Victor stepped closer, cold, unmoved. "You didn't know him." That hurt more than anything. Lena's voice broke. "He was all I had. And he made choices," Victor replied. "Just like you did tonight." Silence. Heavy. Painful. Then suddenly, a loud thud hit the steel door. Both of them turned instantly. Another hit. Harder this time. "They found the basement," Lena whispered. Victor's eyes narrowed. "Too fast. Way too fast." "That meant, they're tracking us," he said. "How?" Victor's mind raced. Then his gaze slowly shifted. Toward Lena. Her breath caught. "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" He stepped closer. "Too close. Don't move." Fear shot through her. "What are you doing?" Victor grabbed her wrist. Firm. Careful. Then turned her arm slightly and saw it. Tiny mark. Behind her sleeve. Barely visible. But real. Victor's face went cold. "Of course," he muttered. Lena panicked. "What? What is it?" He looked her straight in the eyes. Dark truth finally revealed. "You're the reason they found us." Her heart stopped. "No, no, I didn't." Victor cut her off. "Tracker." Silence. Everything shattered. "They put a tracker on you." Lena felt like she couldn't breathe. "When?" she whispered. Victor's voice dropped. "Before you even warned me." The door slammed again. Harder. Metal starting to bend. Time was running out. Lena's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't know. I swear." Victor believed her. But that didn't change anything. "They used you," he said. "As bait." Another hit. The lock cracked slightly. "They're coming in," Lena cried. Victor stepped back. Gun ready. Face emotionless. Decision made. He looked at her one last time. "Then we use you back." Lena froze. "What?" Victor raised his weapon toward the door. Finger on the trigger. His lock. Cold. Calculated. And said, "Get ready to run." The door finally began to break. And everything was about to explode. The steel door cracked. Once. Boom. It burst open. Gunfire exploded into the basement. "Move!" Victor shouted. He grabbed Lena's hand and pulled her hard to the side as bullets tore through the doorway. No time to think. Only run. They sprinted down a narrow passage behind the storage wall, a hidden escape tunnel. Dark. Barely enough space to breathe. Behind them, footsteps. Yes. They're coming, Lena cried. I know, Victor replied, not slowing down. The tunnel twisted ahead. One path. No turning back. Lena's chest burned. Her legs felt like giving up. I can't. Yes, you can, Victor cut in sharply. Then suddenly he stopped. Lena almost crashed into him. What are you doing? She panicked. Victor turned. Gun raised. Eyes locked on the darkness behind them. Go, he said. Lena froze. What? Run. Straight ahead. Don't stop. Her heart dropped. No. I'm not leaving you. You don't have a choice. His voice was firm. Final. Footsteps were getting closer. Voices echoing. They're here. Lena shook her head, tears streaming. You said we'd get out together. Victor looked at her. For the first time there was no coldness. No control. Just truth. I lied. Silence. Her world cracked again. Before she could react, Victor grabbed her arm, pulled her close, and pressed something into her hand. Small device. What is this? She whispered. A jammer, he said. It'll block your signal. For a few minutes. Realization hit her. You knew. Yes. You knew I had a tracker. I needed them to follow us. Her breath stopped. You used me. Victor didn't deny it. I used the situation. It hurt. But she understood. Just a little. Why? She asked, broken. Victor's voice dropped. Because I needed to know who was behind it. A step. Closer now. Louder. More dangerous. And now you do? Lena asked. Victor nodded slowly. Yes. Who is it? Was. Then. My right hand. Silence. The betrayal was complete. The man he trusted most. The one who knew everything. Lena's voice shook. So this was all for him. For the truth, Victor corrected. Gunshots echoed closer. No more time. Gio, he shouted. This time Lena ran. Tears blurring her vision. Heart breaking with every step. Behind her, gunfire erupted. Louder. Closer. She covered her ears. Kept running. Didn't look back. Couldn't. After what felt like forever, a faint light appeared ahead. An exit. He pushed forward. Burst through the door. And stumbled out into the cold night air. Alone. Completely alone. He turned back, silence. No footsteps. No Victor. Nothing. Tears streamed down her face. No, please. But deep down she knew. He wasn't coming. 3 days later the city was quiet again. Like nothing had happened. News reports called it a violent gang conflict. No names. No details. Just another story buried. Lena sat in her small apartment. Different now. Changed. Broken but alive. A knock came at the door. She froze. Fear instantly returning. Slowly, she walked toward it. Opened it, no one there. Just a small envelope on the floor. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. Inside photo. Victor. Alive. Standing. Looking straight at the camera. Her breath caught. Behind the photo a note. 2 words. Trust me. Tears filled her eyes. He survived. But that wasn't all. There was something else in the envelope. And an address. Lena stared at it. Heart racing again. This wasn't over. Not even close. She looked at Victor's photo one more time. And whispered. Now what? Final twist. Across the city. In a dark room. Victor Romano sat in silence. Injured. But alive. Across from him. A man tied to a chair. Bleeding. Broken. His former right hand. Traitor. Victor leaned forward slowly. It's cold again. You should have killed me when you had the chance. The man laughed weakly. You're already dead. You just don't know it yet. Victor's expression didn't change. Tell me who's above you. Silence. Then the man smiled and said a name.